Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected. Your host Frank Casino, and I have a big juicy cast with me today. I have Mr. John Ferrell join us for the first time. We have James Hansen, Michael Schaefer, Man Bryant, and Hart the Tabular, of course, because we're back with another top 20 list. And I'm just gonna kick it right over to Hart so he can talk about this wonderful list he enjoyed putting together for us.
Was it wonderful to put together? It was not. This was hell. This one was hell. So tonight we're doing top 20 blindsides, and with all the blindsides that has happened in Survivor history, there was a lot of submissions. So I hear some back. I don't know who it is. I hear myself. But yes. So we will be going over what we think are the top 20 blindsides. We are going to exclude any sort of idle play except for one because somebody doesn't follow directions. But other than that, we have our top 20. We have 5 honorable mentions. And yeah. And then, so our drafters tonight were, or not our drafters, our list makers were Frank, James, John, and Michael. Mammers is here just to get her opinions on things. And I'm sure she loves that position to just critiquing what everybody else does.
I literally just woke up from a nap, so you're going to get me.
Drop me in Pokeland, Mammers. Come on.
Listen, I don't remember Survivor like these bozos do, so I figure I let the experts take the role on this one, and I'm just going to chill and hang out and laugh at everyone.
Well, Mammers, this is going to be a good time to laugh at everybody because the most on one person's list that made the top 20 was 13. This was a wild list that people made. And a lot of
this topic was just a little too broad, maybe?
It was.
It's a little too broad.
I tried narrowing it down.
A lot of these got on the top 20 for one person putting it in their list.
Wow.
Wild.
There you go.
But let's go over our honorable mentions. So I have 5 honorable mentions to go over. And then, of course, we'll give the Tabulators award that I like to give for something that I put in my list and nobody else did. So, coming in at number 25, only James had this ranked, but he had it ranked at number 10. From Marquesas, Hunter Ellis. James, why was this on your list? James, that was for you.
I'm good. I was frozen for a second. I didn't hear exactly what you said. I'm sorry.
Number 25 on the list is Hunter Ellis, who you ranked at number 10. Why did you have Hunter
Ellis? This is very easy to explain. So it was literally the first time in Survivor that like the big like alpha male like macho guy was voted out in the pre-merge. And like if you looked at his tribe in early Survivor, like 99% of the time that guy never gets voted out in the pre-merge, and he is like on a lot to make the merge, even on modern Survivor. So like it was pretty shocking, especially when early Survivor blindsides don't happen. Yeah, I think I ranked Hunter like 10th or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's really fair. I think it was one of the most not talked about biggest blindsides ever in Survivor, and one of the biggest pre-merge blindsides ever. Just for the sole factor of like why he got voted out was like so different. Like I said, they never voted out those type of people ever in the pre-merge in that stage of Survivor. I don't know if you guys remember it that well.
I remember talking about it when we did the Marquesas. It was definitely something. There was another one, Marquesas, that almost made my list, but I did it.
Okay. Coming in at number 24, Michael had this at 14 and John had it at 17. If anyone actually knows how to pronounce his name, it's pronounced Aris. But for the people who don't do their research, it's Aris from Blood vs. Water.
It's almost made my list too. So.
I mean, this blindside completely changed the course of that game.
Yeah,
it was right at the merge. Tyson and Jervis pulled that blindside on Aris to kind of give Tyson control of the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I get what you guys are saying. Maybe I didn't think about it because I just remember them hyping up the Aris vote out for like 3-4 episodes. So it was like I felt like it was just like it's going to happen at some point. Like, so maybe that's why it took the sales out for me personally.
I mean, there's so many times in which they like foreshadow the vote upcoming, but then it never actually comes.
Yeah.
but this one, it did just have that really lasting effect, and to watch his reaction after being voted out. I mean, I feel that this vote out had a lot more of an impact than she voted her mother out type of that later in the season. So yeah, this I feel was a lot more impactful of a blindside.
To be honest, I feel like this blindside is probably the second best quote unquote tribal of that season, other than the rock drop.
So I think also with this too, more so than just the blind side, it shaped the way the rest of the game went too. Because it really allowed Tyson's alliance to take control. And
that's what I had said earlier.
RS was their biggest adversary. Like basically, he was the biggest thorn in the side to those three getting to the end, and like that was the fact that was taken care of so early. Like it, to me, it made it the votes. Like I like the season; it made the votes a little more like predictable. But this was really the turning point of that season. And yeah, it's a blindside. I remember. I almost had it on my list. It was very close to being on 20th.
I think the biggest factor for me on this too is that Ars really thought he was good with Tyson and Jervis and Monica, and obviously he wasn't planning on taking them too far. But Tyson kind of knew like he's got to go like now.
Yeah,
and Ars
and he's on the swap tribe, and then finally pulled it off.
He was playing a more aggressive game than he was when he won too. Like I'm not saying he was playing a better game, but he was playing. He was the big name as a winner, and like he was playing aggressively.
And sure. he still had his blood in the game at that point too. So I mean,
his brother had immunity that night too, which made it even easier to get it on ours.
Yeah.
All right. Coming in at number 23, I'm going to say I am shocked that this did not make the top 20. John had it at 11, and Frank had it at 20 from Token Sheen's Tyson Hostel.
Wow.
Yeah,
I probably should have had this.
That was honorable mention for me too.
I had another from Token Sheens that was in my honorable mentions. I totally blanked on Tyson.
This one definitely reshaped, I feel, the merge pretty much, and pretty much completely set in motion for JT and Steven to just go right to the end at that point.
Oh yeah.
Did anything from Token Sheens make the list or no?
I will not confirm or deny.
All right, so there's one I won't say. There's another one that I didn't have on my list from Token Teams that I think is better than this one, but I think they're both really close to my list. But yeah, no, this was really put the stranglehold for like the flip
JT and Steven and Taj.
For JT and Steven and Taj going in with the minority in such like an old school season with such a little number. That this is where they really like actually took control of the game.
Yeah, it really turned the tides around completely.
And this is like probably the peak of Tyson's arrogance, and it just like he was so blinded by his arrogance and just totally smacked him in the face.
It is. I do have to say it's interesting to have these two Tyson votes back to back here, in which he's in control of, and then another in which he's getting the stick.
So, and it just speaks to his volume as a player. Like he's played great, and he's also played horrible. Like it's like his first two games were bad, like
really bad.
Okay, coming in at number 22, probably the only time we'll ever talk about this person. But Michael had him at 17, and James had him at 13 from Amazon. It's Alex Bell.
Let's go. I'm so glad this made this.
I didn't make it.
I had a different Amazon thing, and then I tried to only keep one per season. But yeah, that is a good one for Amazon. But
I feel like it was such a turning point in that game at the final 7.
And some of this too was just like, because I really think that like Rob had this flip-floppity strategy, but like he almost like I think would have waited a little longer to vote out Alex, because Alex was probably one of the bigger threats there. He probably, and without immunity idols, he probably would have waited a round or two. But Alex literally like went to Rob and told him he was going to vote him out at Final Four, and that's what made Rob want to do it sooner. But Alex did not. Alex was so cocky; he did not see this coming at all. Like
I think it was him and the girls both got blindsided on this one.
it was Jenna and Heidi, yeah, and Alex. I think it was 4-3, right? It was at the final 7.
Yeah, and it set up a lot going forward. But
Very
It set up
solid,
Rob in
very
the
solid
perfect
pick.
spot to get to the end of the game.
Yeah,
Until
because Rob was flipping between working with the weirdos like Matt and Bush, and the outcast like Pete type of people, and then the cool kids like Alex and Heidi and Jenna, and it worked perfectly because they all needed him for like certain things that they wanted to work out, and they couldn't figure out that he was just the one controlling it the whole time. But yeah, this was. There is another really good Blindside this season, but I like this one more.
Okay.
As the resident Amazon person here.
Well, Mammers, although she's off camera right now, she did get to have an impact in this list somehow, even though she did not do a top 20. Mammers had to break 2 different ties and help us out with that. So, one tie was something that would make the top 20 and one that would not. So we had a tie for 20th and 21st. So, coming in at 21st, Frank, you had this at number 7. It is JT from Game Changers.
Oh, come on. That's so good. She's over there whipping her hair, the tea. JT's such an idiot.
He was on my
forgets
honorable
his
mentions. I put him
idol.
on my list.
He didn't even bring his idol on a 4-person
It wasn't that close. It wasn't as close as the other was for me, just because to me, Game Changers does have a lot of good ones, and I don't know. There's another one, and there's another one close than Game Changers that I think stands out a little more. So yeah.
For my list, I mainly picked ones that gave me a lot of joy.
Yeah,
so
that's
seeing JT just like for not even bring his idol. Like it's like how I said the peak arrogance of Tyson. This is probably peak. Besides this, it's heroes versus villain JT, and then this one, and it just smacked him right in the face. And then the hair whip as he's walking off by Michaela. Oh, it's so funny. And then Sandra's like, "I ate that sugar, bitch."
There's moves that I love that move. I mean, I didn't consider some moves for my list because of stupidity.
I agree with you, John. That's why I forgot this one.
And there's another list that I'm sure some of y'all probably put down that I purposely did not put down, and I'm sure Mr. Tabulanus there is gonna be saying later on. So
I cannot wait to see if it's the one I'm thinking. But all right. Well, now let's go to the Tabulators Award. So as most of you guys know, except for John, I also make a list. It's not configured into the tabulations, but just to see how I do compared to all of y'all, because you guys know I have some interesting takes. But yes. But coming in for my special Tabulator Award, you know what? We might be talking about the Black Widow Brigade later, but this blindside from the Black Widow Brigade did not make the list. Jason Siska from Micronesia.
That came this close to making my list.
Yeah.
They just blindsided somebody else. He had an idol in his pocket.
Yeah.
And he did not play it. And got blindsided. That's so stupid. I'm
I don't know. I fault myself for not putting this on actually after you say it, and I think it definitely should have been on there. But like, you love this. I know you love this season, but you love this.
This is my favorite season of all time, and nothing
you love this round, like in particular, like because I remember the
fucking stick. I'm a big Jason Siska fan, obviously.
I remember you gave us shit in the worst moves draft for not having that higher or wherever, or maybe not.
I had Jason not playing the idol in my worst move list.
The existence and survivor of Jason Siska should make any sort of list in this name.
I will say some words that you love to hear, and I will agree with you that is a lovely move. However, I put a different Micronesia move in there, and like I said, I tried to keep it one per season, just out of fairness to my list, so I wasn't like.
Yeah, I'm with you, John. I did the same thing. I don't think I had went multi-season for any. So.
I had a couple on here that came from the same seasons.
I did think about this move, but my problem is, it's just like Jason's dumb. So like for I don't even know if he understood what happened.
He
And so
already
it
did.
wasn't quite
He did.
exciting. So I like the ones where they know they just got played and they look like the anguish. Like he's like, I guess I'm gonna go eat. I don't know.
Jason's like a good like train wreck though. Like he's not that entertainment.
He tried to provide a stick as an idol. That's all we need to know about that man.
I want to know how this guy got through casting. How did he get through casting?
Like,
Like,
they did a lot of his archetypes.
Compared to half of the other fans tribe, he was actually like a genius compared to the rest of them.
That says a lot about the fans they
I
cast.
know.
He was
Exactly.
competent. He was competent compared to a lot of them. He was an idiot,
sad.
but like
That's
he
sad.
had, yeah.
But also, I want to point out who did get Jason feeling comfortable that round.
But what?
Who got Jason feeling really
Art wants to
comfortable?
parade around Natalie Bolton. Move on. Let's go.
I love Natalie Bolton. Idol. All right, but let's get into our actual top 20 now.
I'm gonna get you a poster of her for Christmas.
Oh, I don't fangirl over a lot of Survivor players. I would fangirl over Natalie Bolton, let me tell you. But coming in at number 20, only John had this at number 7. This is his Amazon pick. It is.
Let's go one vote further
Steve
from
Smith.
Alex vote. Let's go to final 6 when Rob is literally in the crossfires of everybody. You get Christy sitting there like, oh, I'm going to be the swing vote. I get to be the one in control. And then Rob's like, well, fuck it. How about we just take away her power and we take her out right now? And she's sitting there dumbfounded at final 6 when she should be the one in control, but she showed so much arrogance to everybody that it pissed everybody off. And
Yeah.
they take her right out.
Yeah, this was my other Amazon one. Like, it was more just like, because I mean, it was, and they all went against her, but like, it was still like, it was her own wrongdoing for going around and bragging about being the swing vote and stuff. But like, we also, I think another reason for you having it so high and that it should be so high is because this was also kind of unprecedented at the time. Like, I don't think anyone ever really was like thinking like, let's try and take out the swing vote at this point in Survivor. Like you still don't see it very often. It's not something that happens too often.
But kudos to Rob Cesternino again for he played the shit out of that season. Yeah. No, hands down on that. I mean, he was literally one comp away from winning the season.
Yeah.
He would have been the best winner for a while too.
Yeah, he still
Also,
probably would have been one of the best.
Probably still
Yeah,
one
exactly,
of the
yeah.
best winners.
5 winners. Yeah, but yeah.
I do. It was an awesome play. Like, there's gonna be one. I'll be lying if I said I just forgot it. So I forgot this one, but there's so many of them. But yeah, it's a. I mean, I'm for sure we'll say this a lot. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun seeing people just get outplayed and bamboozled, and she did.
There's a couple that I wanted to put on my list so bad just because of how funny it was and how much I loved it. But at the same time, I don't think it had as much impact on the game. Or
I took, like I said, joy with me.
Well, I've got a whole bunch of those on my list, Frank.
Well, let's go to number 19. Michael, you had this at 20, and John had it all the way up at number 8. Because when a blindside happens, what's the face we make? And also,
exciting.
this is what Kat Ederson does from One World.
That was almost made my list. That almost made my list.
This is the one that I kept
made it.
moving on and off my list.
This is a
like,
good one.
I don't know how you can move it off your list. She was literally talking about, I love a good blindside.
And that's what eventually got it back on my
travel and
list.
everything. And she's like, again, cocky, and she's thinking that she's in such a good spot with the power crew there, and they all just get so sick of her, and they just blindside her in return.
It was she's like, blindside, like, towards the end of the vote. Then she cries walking away after she gets blindsided.
I think the reason I left this off is while it is a great blindside and she didn't see it coming off at all, it is more just a complete lack of self-awareness. The fact that she got blindsided, like, she was never playing a good game or in a great spot or anything. So it was like, it added to the humor of it. This is one of the funniest Blindsides.
That's why I had it up so high. Because this was probably my best humor one by
it's
far.
It's kind of cringy too, and especially since Kat is kind of just like an arrogant like person.
Well, I mean, it pretty much led into the behaviors that she showed during Blood versus Water, and that nobody wants to marry a pre-merger.
I'm
goes
undateable, but I didn't make the merge.
Yeah.
No, like so. I took this one off and put the Tyson one on. Like I did it back and forth a couple of times after I replayed with my list, and but it's a fun one. Watching her like cry and they're all just in there like the awkward look, like, oh no, she didn't see that coming. You don't think she had a chance to win like Liz? She was gonna win.
Liz is watching this podcast now and is like writing an email. So.
She was going to win.
Yeah, I'm sure she
has
will.
$1 billion to share with you, Frank.
And she still thinks that too, just so you guys know. I just watched the interview. I just watched her interview on another podcast today, and she still thinks that she won.
If anyone is watching currently, this is currently sponsored by Applebee's because Liz loves Applebee's. All right, so our next four. I just want to put out all four listeners this time. Your number 6. You're the only person to put that on your list. Everyone's number 6. And man, this is the tie that man was broke between the next 4. So coming in at number 18, this is Michael's number 6, John Carroll from Marquesas.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
How is this one not on the list?
This was I said it earlier.
So many
it was
good ones.
It was honorable mention for me.
It was literally the first time the person in power got knocked out in Blindsides.
Yeah, I'm a wish on this one.
About how he was king at the beginning of the episode. He's the last person you would expect to see go home when you start watching that episode, and then by the end, he's gone.
You are correct.
Yep, he went from the ring, probably in the edit and viewer
guy who was going to win the game to
front runner to win the game to gone in a matter of the episode. Yep, Michael,
that's ever saw that.
Good, you nailed this one. I think this is a huge miss for not having this for.
I'm shocked none of you had it on your list.
At enjoyment level, it's more on the lower side, only for the fact that like he wasn't that upset. Like I want to see anguish, I want to see pain, and I didn't see it.
That's fair, but I was also going for like how much of an impact did it have?
Well, you didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that what I had to do. I went by enjoyment.
I'm kind of kicking myself for not putting that one on there, but
it deserves to be on the list.
I'll just say
that's a bad pick at all.
No, it's a great pick.
Yeah. That's a very good pick. Nice pick, Michael.
I'm gonna be honest. I think all of you guys' number 6s should be on the list higher.
Okay.
Coming in at number 17, this is John's number 6.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm so happy this made the list. Yeah. From Vanuatu, it's Leanne.
Oh, this literally changes the course of the game. Chris is a sitting duck, like waiting to go. I figured this is going to be one of the lower ones because everybody tends to forget about Vanuatu. But I mean,
Not me and Hart, John. We know.
Okay. But you were the one breaking this tie. I
was.
But Chris literally is now the last guy against 6 women, and we watch the women implode, and we get pretty much 2 factions going, and somehow Chris just ends up being now the swing vote. And watching Chris just give that like winky side eye to the guys over on jury, and the game just slowly start to turn because the ladies are now fully in destruct mode, and they now just want to kill each other one by one. And Leanne is this first casualty that she had been in such a power position, number 2 in like her alliance, and taking out such a strong person right there. That was not something that anybody saw coming at the beginning of that episode.
It's been a long time since I watched Vanuatu.
No, and Chris was also immune a lot of the rounds. He was not immune this round, correct?
He was not.
No, he wasn't. I think Amy
was not. He was like later in the game. Chris could have been like I think at later in the game he would have been voted out if he didn't win immunity a couple of times. But this round, Chris did not have immunity, and
He
you would
didn't catch
think he would have been a sitting duck. Like you would have think, but no. Instead, John said he made himself the swing vote and pretty much controlled the round. And like you said, Leanne was probably next to Amy, the second power person from the women's side.
It went Amy, then Leanne, and I believe Amy had immunity that round.
Amy had immunity,
and Amy went next.
Amy was the next boot.
She was, yeah.
And that took out the two really power people in the challenges, which pretty much led the way for Chris to win out the rest of the way.
So, Chris went from being the challenge liability to like a challenge beast basically at that point because But like I think it's very impressive that he was able to pull off a vote here at the final 7 with that many people, and not without immunity when like he should have been a dead man walking without immunity this round.
Don't forget though, Leanne also did it to herself. Because she went up to Scout and basically said, I want Julie to go to the final 3 now instead of you.
Yeah.
And that's what made Scout start to flip.
Yeah. They all just thought Scout was just an idiot pretty much, and Scout was a smart motherfucker, so they
underestimated. All right. Coming in at number 16, this is Frank's number 6. We got to put this idiot up here at some point.
You guys didn't have this one?
No, because
I
of
chalked up your stupidity.
Come on, how do you have Jason but you don't have Eric?
Did I take this off? I had this on and took it off because I was like, this is too much pure stupidity, and these other ones are actual blindsides. This is too much pure stupidity for me to have on. I had it on.
It's such joy. It like literally breaks his whole spirit.
Yes, it breaks his spirit.
Well, you know what? He should be a fucking dumbass. He should know that if he gives up immunity, he's probably going home.
He should. Doesn't mean he does.
When the whole entire jury is watching and laughing at the whole entire thing, and they know what's coming, this is not a blindside anymore. This is just dumb fuckery.
The way that he was the only person there, probably in the universe, who did not
expect those girls to turn on him. He did not expect it.
Well, he's a moron.
I think Frank was great putting this on his list and as high as what
he was blind.
He was
how stupid everyone else thought he was. He was.
Yeah. I just had to take it off because the others were actually like this is was more like just dumbfounded stupidness where I'm like I cannot put this on the list.
And again, I still have something else for my
and this is to me like on the worst, like this is more leads back to our worst moves draft because I had this is the worst move ever, and I said I don't think there's anything that could top it because it's such pure stupidity that it's like almost not even like it's such a blindside to him. It's the biggest blindside ever, but it's like he gets voted out and everyone's laughing at him. The jury's laughing at him. Jeff is inside. He's trying not to laugh at him. Like everyone's laughing at him. It just gives me such joy. Come on. I don't know how Jeff could have kept a straight face that
he did his best.
Yeah. That takes some serious acting skills to not do that.
Oh man.
All right. Well,
James,
your number 6 made it the highest thanks to Mammers. But coming in at number 15, I feel like this might have some arguments with the idol thing, but maybe not. We'll see. It is JT Thomas from Heroes vs. Villains.
It shouldn't. It's idol.
Shouldn't count.
Take it off the list.
That's purely idol. But
it
does involve some blindside, but not really.
Yeah, that's why I didn't take this one.
Yes, because it was 5-5 split.
That's why I didn't take this and the John Hennigan one off because they had to take a guess, and they could have failed with the way the idols were played. And the idols were more a guessing game. So while it is successful idol, and like it was pretty much a split around, like I still consider this this was a massive blind. The Heroes did not go to that tribal thinking that JT was going to be walking out the door there, and JT was like the one holding the Heroes together really, and like him going pretty much was the end of their games. So
this was on my original.
Anybody trusted Russell Hands?
Right.
Yeah.
This
So,
was
like-
on my original list, and then I adjusted.
So, like we said, we don't have to
the
talk about it too much, but I have this one and one other idol play on because like I said, I took a couple idol plays off, but I didn't take these off because I solely think of them more as blindsides than idol plays necessarily.
All right. Well, coming in at number 14. Only John had this on his list at number 5. But I would think this is the first ever blindside to ever happen. It is Gretchen from Borneo.
It almost made my
Yeah,
list. It was on
mine
my.
too.
This is what I was talking about
Honorable
earlier.
mention.
I had this so high because this is the OG. I mean, this is the merge vote of Borneo, and to just watch her reaction. I mean, Frank, you should go back and watch this reaction, and you get some joy out of this one.
Yeah.
And her reaction of, "Oh, it's me." I mean, it's the craziest vote ever, too. It's a 4-1-1-1-1-1-1. I think vote, maybe 1-1-1. I forgot how many ones I said, but it's insane. How many?
It's really insane.
Yeah, and it's the first real showing of a true alliance being formed in the game, and having that work, and setting really the tone for so much of reality TV as we know it.
Very fair. It was almost on my list. It was
I
definitely
almost put it on
considered.
mine too.
And like we will never see a vote count like that at the merge ever again. In like
We won't vote like that ever again. Not just
ever.
Like in any org or like any Survivor season, we will not see that. And it's like a lot of it was because like what John said, this was like showed that the foundation, like that there was an alliance and that everybody else out there was just playing their own game because they were not. This wasn't a split or anything. This was just everybody like saying, I want this person out, and nobody being able to come into any sort of agreement, except the fact that those four were able to come together and agree on one person really like set up.
I think that the next episode after this vote out is much better because they're like, they just voted her out because she was good at stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just like dumbfounded. That was the reason why they vote somebody out. It's like,
yeah.
All right. Coming in at number 13. James had this at 14 and Frank had it at 12. It's our first new era blindside. It is Omer from 42.
I had this on my list originally and I took it off for something else.
I'm gonna get hated for this, but I didn't put a single new era thing on my list. There's a whole bunch. I know there's a bunch that you can put on here, but I mean, I stuck with everything that was old school. I mean, you can blindsides more. I mean, Omar's was great. I love Omar's blindside. I mean, because we were all rooting for Omar to win at that point.
yeah.
But yeah, that was a good pick. Good pick.
I mean, they blindsided somebody that in a way had an idol, and they were so confident they didn't use it at Final 6 to guarantee them a Final 5 round. And it was just, it was just.
And this was like
so good.
I really don't think like while I do think Mariam played a good game, like her game wasn't great until like around the final 7, but this was really her game winning move right here.
Yeah.
Like this is what put her over the edge, and like to me this is what makes her like separates her from being not like a lower tier winner to being a like actual solid winner. The fact that she was able to make those moves, like this move, and then having the idol that nobody knew about that she pulled out at FTC. Like,
And it was a game change move. It was the first time the extra vote worked.
Yep.
Yep. And she got Mike and Jonathan to do what they wanted there, basically, and then Lindsay was really the only one left in the dust, I think. So.
Well, I think Lindsay and Omar voted together. Mike and Jonathan voted together, and then Marianne, Romeo, and the extra vote were the ones who pulled the blind side on Omar.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think she may have not needed the extra vote. I think Omar would have went out on the revote anyways, but
I think the extra vote was expiring after that round, or was the last time she could use it. So
Yeah.
But this way, she gets to claim the move for her own because
yeah,
used
she doesn't.
extra vote.
You don't leave it up to chance on a on a
Yeah,
tie.
no, of course not. Like you don't take any chances, but
And Romeo was her perfect goat.
no. So I do think that Mike. No, but I don't think Mike and Jonathan. If you remember, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they just voted. Who did they vote for that round?
Lindsay.
Romeo or Lindsay? Yeah.
No,
did
they
just vote?
No, it was Jonathan and Romeo who had votes, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So they did vote.
Yeah, but they did vote Romeo. So, but they didn't just vote Romeo on their own though. Like that was planned. Was that planned for them?
I thought they voted on their own.
Okay. So Marianne pulled that off with just Romeo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that does make it more impressive, I think. So,
And we all know Marianne just told Romeo to do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Romeo didn't have a part. He just voted.
Marianne did that.
Romeo did what he was told.
All right. Well, let's get to this next one quick. James, go ahead.
Oh, is this the mess up? All right. So I'll just explain it from this was my number one, and if idols are included, I think it would be some people's number ones probably. But I just think of it so much more than an idol play because so much was going on. I think of it more as the minority split vote, and there were so many people in the game at that point that like, regardless of what was coming out, like nobody in the game, viewing, like John himself, like nobody in a million years expected him to go out that way right there. And yeah. To me, it's one of the
Even
most
us,
shocking
even the fans were blindsided. We had no
I
idea.
think John might have been one of the last people you would have thought would have went home.
Yeah,
I was so blindsided.
Yeah, I can respect this being on the list more because this sets a whole new precedent of the split minority vote, which we had never seen, never contemplated before.
It has to be like you have to be confident that your idol plays are going to work and you can pull it off. But like, it takes a lot, and they were able to do it with. Who was it? I think it was Nick, Christian.
It was
Davey.
It was all the Davids
and Carl.
And Carl. Yeah.
It was all the Davids.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this was a really impressive move by them, but it was also to me like it's more than an idol play, so that's why I forgot to take it off with that. But I said, like, would you guys have had this really high if you include the idol plays?
Yeah, it was my top.
It probably would have been top 5.
That'd be high. Yeah.
Okay.
Jonathan for the return. Come on. I would love to see him come back.
I think so many people would love to see him come back.
It won't happen.
I heard Jeff was very high about John after that season was over. Like
to me, he would have been really good.
Like most professional athletes, like more well-known people are kind of like dicks, kind of like that, and John was completely not even like that.
He's such a nice guy.
He's such a great guy.
I think that has to do almost more, and I hate saying it like this, but the professional wrestling domain, they're so used to like being a part of their fans and like being that extra big character, and realizing that they're not just there for themselves, that they're there for the entertainment, they're there for the fans. And so yeah,
fans in wrestling make or break your career. That's not that way in any way other sports.
Exactly.
So they're more humble.
Wrestling's fake, unlike any other sport.
Well, that's a different podcast to get into that. But it does make them more humble, I would imagine. But it makes you feel better, James. This was on my list solely for the pureness, like not us being blindsided at home. So like the audience being blindsided. So I did have that on my list too.
So blindsided because like I watched this
I've
like
seen some
not
football
live.
games where I think they're fake too.
I watched this when I was away from Survivor. Like I'd gotten away from it, so I didn't watch it live. So I watched this like while I was doing my rewatch, like after I'd watched a bunch of other seasons, and like out of all like the seasons I had just seen, and this season sandwiched in between like a bunch I saw after too, like this was one of the most because I was like. He was one of the last people I was expecting to leave that night.
The best part of that, leading up to that vote, is that you have a confessional by John saying there's going to be a brochacho Blindsides.
Yeah.
And he thought he was referring to Christian, and it was him.
The other funny thing I think is when the idols were being played, Angelina was like,
Oh my
Make
god!
sure you know who you're playing it for. Like, it was like so on brand for her. Whatever she said, like, she's like, "Oh, did you tell who you're playing it for?" Like,
She's so annoying.
All right. Well, wrapping up our bottom 10, coming in at number 11. Michael, you had this at number 4, and Frank had it at 13. From Survivor 45, it's Kelly Nalbandian.
Oh, people are playing Survivor.
yeah, I just left it. I just left it off. I have 3 New Hero ones that I liked more so.
Yeah, I
It
put
was
this in
the
parentheses
biggest-
when I said that. When I sent it to Hart, I put, "Oh, people are playing Survivor" in parentheses.
Oh god, that was so good. That Blindside made that season and really set the tone for D to go all the way.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was solid. You get to see people cry. You get to see people just you see
Her
see them
face when she
crumble.
realizes that she's going home is priceless.
What the hell, guys?
Mhm.
And like the crazy thing is, it was like it was a blindside. Like she was in such a good spot, but like pretty much almost all the people flipped on her. Besides like what Kendra
Kendra, Bruce.
and Katura.
I don't think Bruce or Jake had a vote that night. It was Kendra and Katara.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And their dumbasses voted for Jake.
yeah.
Like it was a perfect set of circumstances that happened to lead to that blindside.
And it was like a perfect
Jake was
like
shot in the dark. Bruce didn't have a vote because of the auction. Like it would have
Yeah.
been like a 5-5 dead even.
Uh-huh.
But then all that happening led to them getting the shot at Kelly. And when they had the shot, they had to take it.
And
Yeah.
Jake was able to like Jake was such the like scapegoat then and like the easy name for them to always throw out, where it was like it was enjoyable to see as a fan too, because we were getting so many just boring easy votes, and then we finally got this round, and it was like there was some life in the season.
It was
actually.
it was a breath of fresh air for the season.
It was very nice to see. I was very pleased after this, because I was like Frank said, people are playing Survivor. There was such a boring stretch of episodes before this one at that point of that season, and the rest of the season after this was pretty good.
Great.
So,
Yeah.
it's good. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's go into our top 10. Michael had this at number 9, and Mr. Farrell had it at number 4. It is from San Juan del Sur, Jeremy Collins.
I actually had this like 3 on my list. And
Solid
I bumped it down.
pick. Really solid pick.
Yeah. I wouldn't have I didn't forget this or anything. I thought there were better ones, but yeah, I can see why it's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
This was another one to me. I really thought about the it's a comparison like John Carroll Blindside. After Josh gets voted out in the episode beforehand, you're kind of thinking, okay, Jeremy has all the power. Jeremy's probably just gonna start his march and steamroll to the end, and then he's gone by the end of the episode.
Yeah. The power shifted, and
Wild.
yeah. And it really just sets off emotions from there. It sets off a whole bunch of cannons pretty much going forward from there. Yeah. It turned the whole
Sorry, go ahead, John. Finish.
I was gonna say it turned the whole entire merge around completely.
Mm-hmm. This set the course for the game to be the rest of the game to be so unpredictable.
Yes.
I mean, it's a real. There's no complaint from me. I think it's a really good pick.
Did you forget about it, Frank? Or you just...
I honestly forgot it. So I had the Baylor one in originally, and then I totally blanked when I redid my list, and because there was Idol, and so I honestly just forgot about it. It's very
Frank, that one would have been on my list too. It had Idols been included, but yeah. In terms of non-Idol blindsides, this is definitely one of the top ones, I feel.
And then also remember too, this was the vote that made Natalie put a blaring target on John's back.
Yep.
After this to eventually, I don't think it's going to be on this list. Get him blindsided a few rounds later.
Yes. That was a very good one.
Which spoiler,
Also,
that made my list too.
Also, I don't think Natalie plays the winning game she plays without this happening, because up to this point she hadn't played a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He was the number 2. She was the beta to Jeremy's alpha at this point. And then when
Yes.
Jeremy's gone, she woke up and played an alpha game.
Correct. Agreed.
All right. Well, coming in at number 9, this is our first blindside to be on everyone's list.
Yay!
Finally, Michael had it at number 10. John had it at 18. James had it at 16. And Frank had it at 8. From Cambodia, Stephen Fishback.
Yeah, great job, guys. Great blindside. That was awesome.
My favorite is when he's in the voting booth and he's like,
Voting for Joe.
in for a minute.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
he's given that speech, and like he thinks his plan is coming to fruition,
Yeah.
and his ass is just getting sent out the door.
Yeah. Such a good blindside. And, he takes it really well. But,
Oh, he
man,
does.
he
Yes.
has
I love-
no idea. No
I
idea.
love
That's because Steven loves Survivor. And
I
he
love
knows.
Fishback for the I love Fishback for the fact that he respects the game so much.
Yeah.
Right.
And like if you go out like that, if I go out in a way like that, like you have to be super humble and you show like a lot of humility there. And Steven really like took that in stride, like, and he knew that this was a fluid game, like where anything could really happen, and they just happened to make this great game move here. And bless you. And yeah, I mean, and this was the only round that Jeremy was blindsided, right? The entire game. Yeah.
This is the only round.
Well, because they had just tried to vote out Steven the round before. They clued Jeremy on it, and then Jeremy plays the idol for Steven.
Yeah.
So they're like,
To
all right,
me,
we cannot tell Jeremy now.
This is the one, like, this is when people play the devil's advocate to Wentworth playing a better game than Jeremy, potentially. This is where she has the one-up on him.
Yeah, but there were other votes Kelly was left out.
There is,
Yeah.
of course. But, like, this round in particular, I think people like to bring that up, that her one-up, that she had this on him, because it was such a great blindside, but, yeah.
I give the credit to Spencer for this move, too, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, no, Spencer totally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was Kelly and Spencer.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah. I'm glad we all have this, though. I'm so happy.
Mr. Tabulator, I have to ask, did you make it a 5 for 5? Did you have this one on your list as well?
Let me double check. I actually don't know.
You don't know something about your own list? Wow.
Looking
Mr.
now.
Tabulator better have it on.
I unfortunately did not have this on my list. I forgot about it. So I did forget about it. But I had John Carroll, if that makes you feel better, Michael.
Well, John Carroll should have been higher on the list. But Amanda doesn't like Marquesas. That's why I was last.
You're right.
Well, let's go into our number 8. Again, everybody had this one. Michael had it at 7. John had it at 15. James had it at 7. And Frank had it at 18. If you ask David Murphy his opinion on this blindside, he would say genius is what that was. This is Matt Elrod from Redemption Island.
I mean, it doesn't matter which vote you're talking about. Both times.
Yeah, it didn't happen twice.
Yeah.
But my God, talk about, so this goes back to kind of the idea with John's putting Christie's on the list where they took out the person in the middle, because Matt had just came back in the game and no one knew what the hell this guy was going to do. Like he was getting fed so much crap from both sides. They were trying their damnedest to get him to go, but nobody truly knew what he was going to do. And I mean, Rob found a way that, like, the idol is always a guessing game, especially at a merge round like this. And he said, let's just take out the person that no one's ever going to play an idol on this guy. Like, no way. And then, like, Matt votes off completely, which allows them to have the numbers here. Like Michael said, Hart said genius is what that was, because it was. But this is great. Like, Matt was
set himself up for disaster here too, because he was like so publicly wary of where he wanted to go. Did he want to go back to the Ometepes? Was he going to go vote with the Zapateras? And then when he finally decides he was going to go back to the Ometepes, Rob already put the plan in motion where Matt was going home.
He waited
That's
too
why
long.
Matt kind of voted on his own, because they told him they were voting for Steve.
Yeah, he looked at.
They misplayed the idol, and then they just voted out Matt.
Yeah, he looked right at Rod's face and said, "I don't know if I want to go with you guys." Like, I just.
But it made the blindside even juicier.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if you remember when Jeff's reading the votes. When the first Matt vote comes up, he just starts laughing because he doesn't know what's going on. He looks at Rob, and Rob shoots him a death glare, and he's like, "Oh fuck."
Oh, I'm fucked. Yeah. The funniest thing is All right. Before I go to this, the way that Jeff read the votes here was so fantastic. Like it was like because the match didn't come first, right?
No, he read all the Grant votes came up.
All the Grant votes,
And then Matt came up. No, the vote for Steve came up
from Matt.
Yeah, Zach upstairs think, "Oh, Steve's going home," and then the Matt votes came up.
Yeah, the Steve vote came from Matt because Matt was left completely in the dust from everybody, so that the Omatepes could have the numbers there. But like this is, to me, honestly, this season absolutely sucks. But like for a second in this episode, like you almost forget that this is such an awful season because this is such a good episode and such a just juicy round, and like it has everything you want in like Survivor. Like you get a great blindside. Like
we didn't hear from Philip as much this episode. That's why.
Yeah, you get a great story, and then like you get just this like dumbfounded people like afterwards at what just happened, and like it's like this poor guy. Like I mean, he screwed up, but like he came back in and they did him so dirty. They did this guy so dirty.
This is by far the best episode of the season, and
yes.
You just see like his soul just left his body. Like he knew he was going back to Redemption Island again after he survived for like how many rounds was it? Like
a lot. It was every round. He was on
every round.
Cool.
Yeah, he was. He was there for a while. And
I remember when he's walking off, Julie goes and she goes, "Oh, that poor kid." Have to go right back there. I think he played for 36 days. I think 30 were spent on Redemption Island.
Yeah,
nuts,
crazy.
All right, well, let's go to number 7. Michael had it at 15. John had it at 9. James at 11, and Frank at 9.
I'm so happy this made the list.
Yeah, same.
From Fiji, it's Edgardo Rivera.
Oh yeah.
I was like sitting there. I was like, am I going to be the only one that puts this on?
No, I'm so
I was the only one to have this.
Again, I mean, it's got all of the Frank like ticks pretty much. It's got the juicy reactions. It sets a precedent. Like nobody's thinking about like the option C, like for the vote. Because I mean, the three amigos are sitting there thinking, "Oh, we got this. We can just do whatever we want," and they think that they're going to be golden. But no, Edgardo is the one to catch the votes. So,
their original plan was to use the idol on Alex. They were going to try to vote out Earl.
Yeah,
and then change their mind to vote for Cassandra, and then tell Dreams. Then Dreams goes and rats them out to Earl.
Yeah.
This was a great play.
The vote shifted from Alex to Edgardo.
Yeah, so this was a great play by Earl, but Dreams also was just a total rat. Like to rat out Edgardo. Who was it? So they're the four horsemen. Edgardo, Alex, Mookie, and Dreams. And Dreams just a complete sellout. Like
for no reason.
To be Earl's goat. To be Earl's goat. That's it.
Yeah. He
goes running right to him, but like they were shocked, but like if I'm Edgardo and I get voted out here, I am like so angry at Dreams because he just cost them like the game. Like none of them were that memorable or anything, but like they were doing the right thing. Like they were making what they believed to be the right move here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Dreams just fucked them.
They had went through with their original plan and it worked. The idol play would have been correct. Earl would have went home at 9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been, and the whole season's different at that point. Yep. Like you're actually, if you're the four horsemen, you're giving yourself a chance to win the game. Which, like,
win the game.
It's not a bad move on their front. It's just Dreams being a complete moron.
Yep.
The thing is, if it worked, it would have benefited Dreams too. He could have played the middle a couple more.
He would have been when he was on the bottom of those 4 guys. He would have been 4. Instead, he flips and becomes 6.
Like you got to the end of the game.
Unfathomable stupidity.
And
he flipped to become an absolute goat is what he did.
Yeah.
I'm now sitting here wondering why didn't this make our worst moves list?
Because there's so many
God,
other
yeah.
things you can include dreams for.
I mean, he
This
won.
is a great round, though. It's
Yeah.
such a great round.
So good. From such a bad season, too. It's so good.
Mhm.
I don't think Fiji's as bad as what you guys said.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I don't think it's a bottom 5 season.
I don't
Yes,
think
it
it's
is.
bottom
Bottom
5 season.
either. I will agree with you.
Bottom
Cameron.
10.
It's not that
Bottom
bad.
10.
Easy bottom 10.
All right, going to number 6. Michael had it at 8. James and Frank had it at 5, and John Farrell didn't have it at all.
New era.
Yep. Cody Essenmacher from Survivor 43.
Oh yeah, this is the new era one. Like it's like without the successful idol play, like Jesse gets the idol flushed and votes a guy out and keeps the idol for himself the idol that guy should have in his possession to save himself. Like it's great, and like to me, it's like it's so flashy, but like in my eyes, like Jesse was playing a good enough game to beat Cody, but like it was almost like he kind of needed this to like really like put the icing on the cake, and it's just such a flashy move in a few different ways that I just.
No, it was such a great. I love that movie. You guys were all good putting that on there. There was a couple ones I could have put on for 43. I think this would have been the one I would have chosen. But yeah,
To me, this is the move in the new era. Like it just gives you gives me the goosebumps every time I watch the episode and watch it, because like Cody just gives him this death stare and he's just staring at him. He's like, "Really, bro?" And he just looked at him, and was like, just this cold hearted.
And then Jesse has the balls to get up and dap Cody up after he votes him out.
afterwards. Right. It's just like there's a slim chance like you sit there and you wait and it's like, is this dude's gonna swing on him? Like that's how tension filled it felt when he stood up. I was like, because like if he would have swung on him, I wouldn't have blamed him because he did him so dirty.
That was so. It was such a good move if you're Jesse, but man, did he fuck him so bad.
Oh, yeah, he did him like I've never seen someone do their number one ally that bad, like ever.
I would love to know if Jesse had made it to the end, was Cody still going to vote for him? My guess is probably yes.
I think yes. The way he reacted to it.
Yeah, but
I
he
think he would have been able to calm down.
Bitter.
Yeah.
I think he would have been bitter, but yeah,
bitter.
he would have had a couple days to calm down, and yeah.
Also,
I think
then again, if you have a couple days to sit on it, could make it worse.
Yeah,
that's true.
Listen, if one of you fuckers ever did that to me, don't you try to dap me up. I tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Because it's not happening.
Frank will swing at me.
It's okay. I'll just blame Hart.
Because like
it probably is my fault. Yes,
I probably would have been like, get the fuck out of my face. I would have been so.
John, could you imagine if Hart tried doing that to me in Cerberus after he fucked me over?
That would have been. I would have died laughing.
Oh, I should have.
Yeah.
All right. Coming in at number 5. Michael had this at 12. James had this at 9. Frank had it at 4. And this was John Farrell's number 1.
Oh wow.
James Clement from China.
I had it at 4.
See, so this is one where like
It's another one I chalked up to stupidity, but I still put it up.
stupidity lowered it a little for me. And the fact that like the audience isn't as blindsided because of the stupidity, like lowers it a little. But like it is, I mean, 2 idols in your pocket is enough said, especially at where it was in the final 7. Yeah,
like the real blindside wasn't that James went home. The blindside was that he didn't play one of his idols.
Yeah,
that's fair. It's like you shouldn't be able to blindside somebody that late in the game with 2 idols. You just shouldn't be able to do it.
I mean, James didn't know what he was doing. I mean, he was gifted those 2 idols by Todd, pretty much, and yeah, he should have played one of those idols. But they were smart to take him out. He thought he was going to be able to play him at 6 and 5, and
so wild,
just scoot right to the final 4. But no,
as the biggest guy out there, like that's why it's stupidity to me.
He was
like look at the room.
Todd
Like
It was you had what? Todd, Amanda,
Courtney,
Lunch Lady
Denise.
PG,
And
Denise,
you sit there with these two others and think, they're not going to vote me out. I'm not that threatening.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to stupidity for me. That's why it was 12 on my list and not.
Okay.
But it's also like when we have blindsides, we have to like give credit and give a good play, and like this was a great play by Amanda and Todd.
It was an excellent play on
Todd. And because like to me, Todd was more the brains and the genius behind it, but Amanda was more the like, I'm gonna make James feel comfortable as fuck type of deal, and she did a good job of that.
Yeah, that was perfect by the two of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it was they executed it perfectly.
They each had their own tasks to pull it off, and they both executed them flawlessly. Because that could have came back to bite them both. Mostly, I think.
Todd at Tribal was funny too. He couldn't even look at like he had to pull his hat down like over his eyes, like
He's just like, I can't believe we actually just did that.
Yeah,
it was. I can't believe that worked.
Right.
He said, "I was scared for my life if James played one of these idols."
Right. Let's go to number 4. Manners, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You ready to watch some crazy reactions?
Oh boy, here we go. Pause my game.
That's cool.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
this is my real number 1 then. If I don't include
this is my number 1.
This was my number 1.
Well, this is what I had as number 2.
This is my
John.
number 1. You didn't put this on here, John?
Are you kidding me?
I had it on there, and I okay. So here's the thing: I actually had it on my list at one point. Took it off and just put it to the side, and forgot to put it back in there.
Oh no!
God.
Because you couldn't figure out how high you were gonna actually put it. That's
Literally, I had it I had it to the side, and I was busy playing around with my list, and then I accidentally just completely.
So this may be the real number 1 because my number 1 was an idol play, and this is my number 2, and this was their number 1s.
This is like one of the best moves you can like.
Yeah,
the people that got pulled off on. What makes it so high on my list was the fact that it was all winners. Yep. Sophie was playing a kick-ass game.
She played the second best game out there after Tony.
Idol in her pocket.
Idol in her pocket. And at Tribal, the Jeremy and Ben stare down as the votes are being read. And then Ben goes, oh.
The Jeremy reaction is great.
Yeah. Sophie stands up with the idol in my pocket.
Yeah.
So to me, this speaks like to real Blindside too, especially in newer era Survivor. Not new era speaking 41 post, more just modern. I'll say modernish Survivor, like idol Survivor.
Yeah.
Advantage Survivor. You have to pull these blindsides off like as close to Tribal as possible a lot of the time. And Tony did that. And he went because if you're making a move with people you don't trust as much, you have to wait a little bit later to execute it. And that is what he did right here. And I truly think that if Tony had went earlier to that little rat Nick this season, like or something, like someone who's just gonna go around and like do things stupidly and just tell everyone everything, I don't know if this could have worked. Like if he didn't have the perfect timing for it and the perfect people to pull it off. Like
listen, this speaks volumes to how good of a player Michelle is. She's the last one to know. Nick knows before her.
No. Jeremy was the last to know.
No, he told Jeremy to go toast Michelle.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, if you rewatch the episode, he tells Michelle before he goes and talks to Jeremy.
I don't know.
Go watch the episode.
I swear we just watched it.
So do you think this was a bad move for any of the three of them? Because I think they played bad moves later, but I think at this round that
they all needed Sophie to go home.
Exactly.
Well, obviously it was in a bad move for Sarah. Went home.
She needed.
But I think Nick and Michelle, this was the right move this round.
Yeah, Nick was going nowhere with the Sarah, Kim, Sophie group.
Nick was also in this little chunk of the game. Nick was just Tony's bitch.
Yeah, but
Michelle was going nowhere with that group either. So
Jeremy was about to go home.
Yeah.
At least what was shown in the edit too, like we never saw Tony like earlier in the game or blabbering to Jeremy and Nick like we have to watch out for Sophie, like she's so close with the girls, like Kim and Sarah, like we have to watch out for Sophie, like she's in the best spot. He was never saying that. He approached it at the perfect time because like I guess when you don't fully trust these people, you can't just be throwing things out in the open. Yeah.
And when you're Tony and he spent that whole game trying to keep his threat level down, knowing that if he caused any sort of mischief at all, he was probably going to get sent home. So he did everything he could to keep his paranoia and his everything down, and used everything in the exact right moment to do it, and it worked flawlessly.
And he was the only one that was willing to throw out Sophie's name at this point, by any means.
To be fair, he also had immunity, which I'm sure helped him throw out a name or two.
Yeah.
All right.
But
well, John, you caused chaos in your first top 20. How do you feel?
I mean, I live for the chaos. I made this list like while I was on lunch break and I had 20 minutes. So, yeah.
But you live for the chaos. Do you know who else lives for the chaos? Chaos Cast. And she calls it an enhanced blindside of Sarah Lucina, who's coming in at number 3.
I knew this was coming.
Did we all have this one?
Yes. So
I definitely would have had this one if I had a
Michael
list.
had it at 3, John had it at 10, James at 8, and Frank at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the better reactions weren't even from Sarah. The better reactions were from Spencer. I feel during this one.
And like Tony, everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just think of everything that led up to this vote. Everything that led up to this. Sarah was supposed to be the swing vote going into this tribal.
Yep.
Then you have LJ and Tony both playing idols for each other.
Wrong.
They're the ones who are going to get the vote. The other one, vote for the other one. They're both wrong. Jeffra is the one who gets the votes. And if the plan goes like they thought, Jeffra would have been the one blindsided, but nope. Cass flips and Sarah ends up going home.
Exactly.
And the game would have been completely different if Cass was
completely different.
Yeah.
Then you get the quote of Cass 0% in the game.
And to me, this whole tribal, like, it's really the whole scramble and episode really in general, but the tribal is like, it's like a fucking circus. Like, you're like, this season is just like like you said, you have the clapping, and then you got Spencer getting all pissed off, and you're like, who did that? Trying to figure out who did it, and then they realize it was Cass, and then it's like, this season's a circus.
Yeah.
Well, just if this plan had worked and Jeffra goes home, they would have gotten one person out, had the numbers, flushed 2 idols that they didn't know that were had.
Yeah.
But that's just what you get when you be an idiot and when you're the swing position. You don't tell everybody I'm the swing position.
You don't throw it in everybody's face that you're the swing vote.
No.
And that's exactly like when we did our worst move thing. I had this from Sarah in like my top 10, I think.
Yeah, it's a terrible.
She played it so bad. She deserved what happened to her.
Yeah.
But it was also such great. I give all the credit in the world to Trish on this, to pounce when she noticed that Cass was debating on flipping because she did not want to. She couldn't stand Sarah.
And you knew that Cass was such a wild card that like the way that Trish approached it was exactly how you have to approach it. You have to make Sarah seem like this terrible, unlikable person, and like want to vote her for like other reasons. Like Cass is someone who's going to vote you for other reasons than strategic reasons.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? She may vote someone out just because she doesn't like living with them out there, and like the way Trish handled that was like so good. And I truly do not believe that Cass flips if it's not for Trish there.
No.
I completely agree. I give all the credit to Trish.
Yeah. It's just
Trish also had to get the rest of them all to vote for Sarah.
Yeah, because Tony didn't want to do it.
I think it was either Spencer or Jeremiah they were going to vote for. And then
Tony didn't want to vote for Sarah at all.
No.
Then Trish goes and be like, if Cass is going to flip, she wants to vote for Sarah. We have to vote for Sarah. That's our chance. And they were like, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So it was all Cass was the one who flipped, but Trish get all the credit for it. She played it so well.
Mm-hmm. I love this whole.
I love this round.
Whole
so
round.
much.
Everything is so
good.
So good. And you can hear almost like a pin drop for just a second after the last vote was read. Like it went like complete silence for just a second. Then you hear the clapping and everything. Like everybody was stunned. It actually was Sarah.
I think the funniest thing that just doesn't even get talked about because the tribal is so crazy and so much happens is that LJ and Tony don't just play idols. They play them for each other. Like,
That's what I had said earlier. I'm like,
yeah,
Tony,
like we said.
Tony reveals that he has the idol in the middle of tribal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go, "Can you
Yeah.
validate this for me, Jeff?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm putting it for LJ." Then right when Jeff starts to read the votes, LJ gets up and plays the idol for Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, baby, Tony. First vote, Jeffra.
Tony's rooting for his name.
And then the camera goes right to LJ and Tony after the first Jeffra vote comes up, and they're like, "We just fucked up."
All right.
Also, they could have held their idols for however much longer. I mean, it didn't matter for Tony. He ended up finding more idols later anyway. But
Can I take a guess as to where we're going?
Later. If he still had the
I'm trying to think where we're going.
I have a guess as to where we're going, and I think it's somewhere we've already been a couple times.
I have two guesses.
I think we're going back to a certain season full of idiots that we.
But it's also full of wonderful people.
This is
a
true
certain
too.
Jason Siska appearance, perhaps.
Ozzy Luss from Micronesia.
Yeah.
Michael and John had it at 2. James had it at 3. Frank had it at number 10.
Wow. Wait, where did John have it?
I had 2.
Okay, I had it at 2 also.
To me, the sheer and I liked Ozzy the first time at Cook Islands. Even though I was a Yule, should have won, I genuinely liked Ozzy. To me, this is a prime example of don't get too cocky. This is what you get. And he got too cocky, and he got absolutely played by Parvati.
I mean, this led to probably one of the saddest jury speeches ever.
Oh, I love you.
Oh, yeah. It was sad for a couple reasons. Not sad it was going to make you cry. Sad it was going to make you fucking cringe.
But, at this point, though, Ozzy thought that, he was running the,
he thought he was running the girls, but the girls were running him.
Yeah, exactly. He thought he was running the game at that point in a tribe of, where the fans were idiots and the favorites were all competent people at that point left in the game. Ozzy thought he was the best one still, and I mean he was totally humbled here, and it was it's a prime example of when you, like I said, when you get too cocky, and he was absolutely stunned. He had no idea this was coming.
This is peak arrogant Ozzy, and it's the best time to get arrogant Ozzy out of the game. I'm not a big Ozzy guy, so but seeing him get blindsided with the idol is nice. And he thought he was on top of the world.
He thought he was hot shit.
He's making people play sticks.
He called out the last episode by Eliza for having the idol after she tried to play Jason's stick. And
the fact he goes before Jason.
Yeah. And he thinks that it's an easy vote on Jason too. So,
did the rest of them who got left out of the vote. Remember the way Jeff read the votes on this? He read, I think it was the Jason, Ozzy, and then read all the rest of the Jason votes before getting to the rest of the Ozzy's, and then you could pan to Eliza's reactions with the jury.
Yeah. And she's just as shocked as the rest.
Everybody was shocked.
Yeah.
When you when I watched it live, I didn't think Ozzy was going home until the third or fourth one popped up.
Oh no, neither did I.
Oh my god, they actually got him.
Yeah. But when you can get that many people shocked, that's why that's so far up there. In terms of
and the thing is, like you said, this is the craziest thing to me. Like you said, he's literally making fake idol sticks and handing them out, laughing at Jason. Jason plays it, and Eliza gives it to Eliza. She plays it and goes home that round with the fake idol that Ozzy made. And then the fact that Ozzy goes home, granted Jason goes out next, but the fact that Ozzy goes before Jason is just it's such a shocking and yet sort of satisfying thing to see, and it's great. Yeah.
It was also just really funny that this happens to Ozzy, and then Jason gets blindsided in the exact same way Ozzy did.
Yeah.
Idol in his pocket, so confident, home.
Yeah, Jason has the real idol this time.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How big of a high horse you think Ozzy would have had if he played that fucking stick and somebody got him to play that stick? How big do you think he'd be like, how dare you? That's so against the game. That's morals. He would be
God,
such a big
Yeah,
fucking
the
dude.
the first 3 rounds of merge rounds of Micronesia are so good. Now that I think
To be
For,
fair,
like,
the
the
entire
first-
merge of Micronesia is
it is, but
That's
the first
true,
3, but it's very rare you get the first 3 that are that good. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. We're up to our number 1. Namers, you didn't make the list. Do you want to take a guess what it is?
I would say the Michaela vote, but I don't know.
yeah,
Well, you're incorrect. It is Wendy Dope from Nicaragua. No, I'm just kidding. It is Michaela vote. Yes.
I was gonna say it has to be Michaela vote.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was-
Michaela Bradshaw from Millennial vs. Gen X. Michael had it at 5, John at 3, James at 4, and Frank at 2.
Wow.
Listen, the
Just
A
best.
2, 3, 4, 5. Wow.
It's the best reaction
Oh.
we'll ever get. What?
What?
And then
It was just so on character, like so on character.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Jay just
Such a
turning
great
that was me.
entertaining moment to watch. Like,
oh,
and for them to bring her back was genius.
Yeah.
the
Genius.
stare,
I love that she got to play more that time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the stare
like-
down, the stare down was
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
Did you do that? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And he's Stone Cold, and then hands like, I did not.
And that was such a dumb.
And-
It's such
and
a
you-
dumb
then you
move
get-
for Jay.
And you get
It
Brett
was an
just sitting
awful
there.
move for Jay.
Yeah, bad
yeah.
move for Jay. Because Michaela would have ran with him to the end.
She would
Straight
have.
up.
Yeah.
Especially what ends up happening, Jay puts himself in a spot where he's never going to have the numbers for the rest of the game. Where if he
Yeah.
doesn't vote Michaela out, if he keeps Michaela in the game, he at least has a chance to have some numbers.
Correct.
Yeah. But I don't think he can get anybody else to vote for Michaela the whole entire rest of the game. This was pretty much the shot that he had to take
Yeah.
Michaela out of
It's,
this game.
you also have to remember about timing. The timing for this was just so bad.
Yeah.
He would have had a shot to get Michaela again at some
Yeah.
point. Like this was just not. He needed to think about numbers instead of the end game when you're not even at the merge yet.
So I didn't watch this live, and I had heard about this or like known about it, so I knew it was coming when I watched this because the Millennials vs. Gen X was the one season I was like kind of spoiled on when I watched because I knew about the Adam winning thing. Like, was the viewer blindsided? Like, did you know she was going, like going
No.
into the tribal? Did you know
You
James?
thought
Going into the
that's
tribal, I
100%.
think you knew.
Okay.
I mean, you had an inkling, but I mean, Jay was still trying to convince Will, like right up until tribal, pretty much. I mean, as the viewer, I thought Brett was going 100%.
Yeah, I thought Brett was going from what I remember watching it, but I had known what was going to happen around, so I was a little bit skewed on it when I saw it. So that's why I didn't remember it as well. But no, like Michaela totally didn't think Jay was flipping. Like Jay, she thought there was no chance in hell with it. Her reaction being that raw. Like there's no way she thought she was being flipped on.
I'm very surprised she did not blow up about Jay having the idol at that point because she knew he had it.
Yeah.
She
I
caught him
listened
and
to-
Will
She
finding
was
the
in
idol.
such shock. She was in such shock.
I listened
mean-
to Will Wall's Talking T-Bird the other day, and he said that Brett would have gone around if they decided to keep Michaela.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Brett should've
Well, no,
went
Brett
home.
was going home if they didn't blindside Michaela, which
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
that
I mean,
was the right move.
Yeah.
Taking out
And-
Brett.
Yes.
And Brett just was the smart one, just sitting back, just letting the fireworks happen, and he's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh." But
And he's right back with his buddy in the position of power at the merge.
well, as much of power as they could have at that point, which didn't have that.
For the
much
first couple
power.
rounds, he did.
Yeah,
Because everybody was deciding to be messy at
And then
that
Gen
point.
X
Yeah.
finally got the numbers and ate themselves alive.
So how many
picture Blindside, you picture this vote.
Yes.
pre-merge blindsides made the list, Hart?
Oh God, James, make me do work.
It couldn't have been that many though, but I'm saying this is a pre-merge one.
I had
Is there any on the list that you surprised no one else had?
This is the only one on my list that was pre-merge.
one.
I had
other-
one more pre-merge.
I had.
This
I had
is
two
the
other-
only one, James.
I had
That's
two
the
on
only one that didn't
streamers.
count for me.
There's one more that I think should have made it, and I can't believe I didn't put it on after we talked about Cagayan, and that's the Garrett Addles.
Garrett?
Garrett's
I had-
on my list. That
Garrett,
was on my
I had
list.
on my list,
Yeah.
and I took it off.
I should have had that on my list.
I had the Burton from Pearl Islands one on there.
That's a good one too. I had Rupert from Pearl Islands on my
I
list.
almost put Rupert on there. I
Yeah,
don't
he
like
was-
Rupert.
That was a great blindside in my opinion.
Well, I
Do you remember
had
when-
Rupert on my list.
Yeah, so did I. Do you remember when Rupert got voted out though? I remember watching that live as a kid, and I was so stunned because like as big of a main character as he is, you did not think he was gonna go like at like what the final 8 or whatever it was. Like that was just
I'm surprised I was the only one to have the Suri one at Heroes vs. Villains.
Idol.
Yeah, that was an idol.
Was there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom played
shit.
that earlier.
Frank, I wasn't dealing with it again to change you. I was like, I'm taking it.
I was surprised. I was surprised
I forgot
Kelly
about
Wentworth
that,
from
though.
Edge of Extinction.
But, yeah.
Huh?
My number 20. My number 20 was Morgan from Ghost Island.
Yeah, that's pre-merge, right? Yeah.
That's the pre-merge one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I had
Chris-
on
I
my
had
honorable
the
mention
Chris
sheet. I had
Noble one,
Cliff
but yeah.
on my honorable mention sheet too. That was a good blindside.
So I'm looking at my other ones that I had on that didn't make the list, and it's
There's a lot.
all my top 11 were on the list, but granted, two
What
of
about
them I
Ethan from
cheated.
Winners at War?
He said what?
Ethan from Winners at War.
Ooh, that's another.
I had
another
that
good
on my
one.
honorable mentions list. It did not make my
So
honorable.
I also had Kelly from Africa on my list.
Mine as well.
Judge from Guatemala.
That almost made the list.
I
I
had
didn't
that.
do that.
Randy from Gabon. Rupert from Pearl Islands.
That made
Scott from Korong.
That
and
almost
then-
made my list.
And then Shan from Survivor 41 was my number 20.
I
I had
had. Oh, go ahead.
I had.
Did anyone
Brenda-
else have Shan?
I had
that.
that. My honorable mention. I almost put that on there.
I had Brenda from Caramoan. I had Kelly Wentworth from Edge of Extinction. John Mish, Samon Del Sur. I feel like that should have been on the list. And then Debbie from Korong.
Debbie for Colorado was on my list.
I had Judd from Guatemala, Hatch from
Yeah,
All
let's go,
Stars.
John.
What?
I said, let's go. I love having the judge pick.
I
Who's from
had
All-Stars?
Hatch from All Stars. I had Chris Noble from Ghost Island. Courtney from Panama. Aubrey
She
from
almost
Edge of
made my list.
Yeah,
Aubrey
same.
from Edge of Extinction. And
That's a good one.
And Burton from Pearl Islands.
Which one?
Both-
from
Aubrey's a
Edge?
good one.
Burton,
Big
yeah.
Tom from All Stars.
But that's a good one, too.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. So the ones that I wasn't on the list that I had on mine, I had Debbie from Colorado. I had Andrea from Caramoan.
I almost
The
had that.
Idol.
That's close. Yeah.
Scott from Colorado as well. I put Sambaya on here from 45.
That's a good one, too.
Was idiot with the idol, 4 people, and she was so arrogant. It
That
was
one's so good. That's a
So
good one,
good.
Frank.
And then I had Garrett, and then the story one don't count, but the rest of them
Yeah.
were on there.
Oh, I'm trying to look at the ones I sent to Hart because I had 5 different ones I switched off my list. It was Garrett, Scott, Carl from David versus Goliath, Tiffany from 46,
Okay.
and then Omar were the 5 I pulled off.
Yeah, I really like the Sambaya one. I just like going back at it. It's such a good episode too, of like
Yeah.
such a plane crash going down. Like throughout
Oh,
the
that
whole
tribe
episode.
was so.
And she got to the
Disaster.
rubble when she saw that she needed to give up her vote for the idol, and then
Yeah.
instead of trying to salvage something, she was like, "Nope, I'm good."
I'm good. I'll give up my vote. I got the idol now. So she gave up her vote. She had the idol, and she went home with it.
See, John, what did you say? One of the ones that John had that was pre-merge one, on his list.
I mean,
none
I
of
had
us.
Aubrey Edge of Extinction.
Okay, that was it. All right. I
Oh,
think that's
That's
a whiff
solid
'cause
one.
that is so underrated. Like that, it was such a blindside. Like she thought she was in such control, and she got played by those new players so
Yeah,
bad.
We have an idol in her pocket too. Yeah.
With the idol in her
The fact
pocket.
that this Aubrey was one of those people who everybody loved her because everyone thought how great of a player she was, and she got completely snowed by these newbies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To be fair, the season was weird. They didn't need those players.
No,
on
they
there.
didn't. They did not need those 4 returning
No.
players.
None of them had a chance to win the game because of how it was set up.
Granted, I loved having my Kelly Wentworth and
David Ray.
why am I blanking on her name? But yeah, the two of them becoming besties during the season.
Oh,
Lauren, yeah,
Yeah.
Kelly and Lauren, they're still besties. I mean, seeing the two of them outside the game, not only are they probably what I consider two of the hottest Survivor players.
Yeah.
I considered the War Dog a little bit too.
I thought about his too.
The War Dog.
It wasn't super close, but I thought about it because it was a good blindside.
I also had on my honorable mention sheet. I had Charlie from Gabon.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, there was honestly, Edge had like 3 of them that I considered.
I had 4 on my sheet. I had 4 from Cagayan.
Yeah.
I had Garrett, Cliff, Sarah, and then LJ.
I forgot about the Cliff one.
So I had the Cliff vote, but then I went with one for season, and I couldn't take that Sarah.
Yeah. Sarah one had to be on there.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta ask Hart something. Hart, you were saying there's one that you would have on your list, I think, with an idol play that you would think is kind of like different.
That was John. That was John.
It was John? Okay, I just wanted to ask that and clarify.
Because the audience was blindsided with that one.
Yeah,
so that's why
I
was like okay with that. But.
Yeah, I was definitely. I think I've never been blindsided by a vote so hard before.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, like you had like zero clue that was happening.
And Hart, I have to ask you, since you didn't put your list in here, how many did you have that matched us?
Only 12. Oh, wait, 12 that made the list. I don't know how many matched all y'all, but I had 12 that made the list.
That's what I meant by that, yeah.
So ones that didn't make it, other people's top 20, so I had Jason, LJ, I had Sandra from Wings at War, but that was an idol play. I forgot about that one.
Where would you have Sophie?
Austin Rob from Heroes versus Villains.
Where would you have Sophie?
Sophie, I had at 7.
I think that's our true number one, actually.
I don't know. We don't know where John would have put it.
No, because John said he slid it to the side.
Where did you? What did you have at number 1?
What did I have at number 1?
Yeah.
Ozzy.
Fair.
I was close to putting Ozzy 1, but I'm like the Sophie 1.
Look, listen, Ozzy would have been higher, but every time I think of Ozzy from Micronesia, I think of his jury speech and kind of just dampers it a little bit.
See,
I mean, I remember him actually going home, and it's so chef's kiss.
Yeah,
it's just so cringe. I just like makes me dislike him even more.
All right.
I can't wait to have Frank one day have to compare Lex and Ozzy, his 2 favorite people from Survivor.
I can't wait to have them on the podcast one day and see if
that'd be great. I'm sure they're great people, just terrible Survivor players and big hypocrites.
Frank, do you want to announce what our next top 20 is?
Yes, we do have this already in the pipeline, and like we usually kind of figure out as we go. But we are gonna do our top 20 wish for Survivor 50, our wish list.
This is the last list we're doing before Survivor 47 starts.
Yes.
Correct. So, everyone, I don't think you guys are gonna follow the same way I did it, but I know I had a little criteria. So
the only actual criteria that we are required to fit is gender balance.
Yes.
It has to be independent. But besides that, there's no era criteria, no winner. They can be people that have won the game. They can be people who have played the game 1 time. They could have played 5 times. It is who you want to see. There just has to be a
balance within winners. We don't want winners at War 2. We're not doing 18 winners on your wish list.
So
of course not. Yeah.
Where it's 3 or 4 winners.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, but you can have 0 if you want. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Let me remind you that the theme for Survivor 50, as Jeff has said, is celebrating 50 years of Survivor.
Yeah,
50 years, 50
take
seasons.
but he also
Take that with what you will. Take that
I'm
with
not
what
going
you
to take anything Jeff does with any
yeah.
sort of.
He also called the season. He also
Well,
called
he
the
is the
season game
producer,
changer.
so we should probably listen to at least a little bit of what he's trying to
will.
do.
Well, yeah.
There's people like Haley Ford and Brad Culpepper on a season called Game Changers. So
Correct.
Yeah, true.
And Caleb, the man who
Aaron
played
John
Big
Thomas.
Brother, who almost died out there, and he was
I
a
just
game
think
changer.
that
So he
Survivor,
almost
like
died.
Survivor 50, has to be like one of their biggest seasons ever. It's 50. It's like
Ah.
it's a big
We're expecting that though, but we'll see if
I'm
it
not
actually
expecting
is.
it. I'm expecting
Yeah.
to be disappointed.
I would not surprise me if we get 35 or 15 new era players out of 20.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me at all.
That's what I'm expecting.
That's what,
That's why I think they're fumbling the bag by not having a new era All Stars for 48, and then for 50,
I
Yeah.
agree.
like
It-
50 being maybe a couple new era people if they played really good in All Stars or something and really made a name for themselves, or one of the like maybe best winner or two from the new era could play that or something, like someone who doesn't
We'll get more
play.
into this when we actually do the podcast.
But yeah,
yeah, well,
But-
yeah, we'll get more to it.
Say,
But
say
yeah.
the feeling.
fumble the bag.
Yes. Okay. So where did we mess up? Are you like John Farrell and leave off the Sophie Blindside in your top 20, or are you like the rest of our smartlings and we put it at number high?
Or you like
I
me
blame
and
my middle
I don't
schoolers
play.
for that.
But let us know what you guys put. Thank you guys for watching. If you made this far, this is a lot of fun. I know Hart had a blast making this list for us. So
Thank you, Hart. No, actually, thank you.
Hart. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.